How is everybody doing? We're going to take a look at In Through the Outdoor by Led Zeppelin. This is the classic album on 180 gram vinyl, remastered and produced by Jimmy Page. Right, before we go any further, this is my least favorite Led Zeppelin album. I've said this before, and I will go through it track by track to explain why. This album was released in 1979. Came in a brown paper bag because it was so bad. No, not really. Some people love this album. Some people hate it. Some people say, it was a poor attempt, especially what came before it, Presence. But then again, people out there say, Presence wasn't that good. And, physical graffiti is better, that kind of stuff. Okay, so on with the show. Paper bag still intact on this edition. There's a clear sleeve outer which I've removed. There's nothing on it, just a very thin sleeve. The ones that fall apart really quickly. There are 7 tracks on the album. In the Evening, Southbound Soiree, Fool in the Rain, Hot Dog, Carousel Alhambra, All My Love, I'm Gonna Crawl. Jimmy Page's hologram of authenticity right here. And there's a mistake on the back. It says Swan Song Incorporated, publishing and copyright 1975. Now, whoever was doing this was asleep because it should be 1979. Rant over. So when this album was released in 1979, the reason it was in a paper bag is because there was actually 5 variants. I think A, B, C, D, E. And you never knew what you were going to get. So that was kind of a thing at the time. And of course, when you remove the bag, you got a sleeve designed by Hypnosis, which is a famous art house, design house that did a lot of famous album covers. And it's a photograph of a man in a bar, kind of, I don't know what he seems to be doing, playing with cards or something, or drowning in sorrows, I'm not sure. And angry looking barman. It's a bit kind of, how will I put it? It's a bit, I don't know, it's a bit, he's obviously in a place like where he shouldn't be, or whatever, kind of a bawdy house or something. And then when you flip it over, on the other side there, you can see all these kind of weird characters around. The hologram is on this one as well, which is strange enough. So yeah, it's a moody cover. And when you open it up, you have the heavyweight vinyl here. But there's also an inlay card. And I think originally, I have a copy from the late 80s, and this is the inner. So the vinyl fits into this, it's the sleeve. But there's actually a mistake in this. Again, another mistake. This is the normal album credit, and produced by Jimmy Page, engineer Leif Masses, assistant engineer Lennart Östlund. Nordic names because this was recorded and mixed at Polar Studio, Stockholm. ABBA actually owned that studio. It was a cutting edge studio. Sessions for this album took place in 1978. Polar was pretty advanced. It had good recording equipment. And then all this down here is from the actual double LP, which this isn't, the deluxe edition. So it says here, the material on this companion disc presents a portal to the time of recording of Zeppelin. But funny, the extras, they don't have the 3 tracks that ended up on Coda. Ozone Baby, and Wearing and Tearing, and Darlene. A lot of people always say that some of those songs should be on the album, but I think it's true. It's probably better off the way it is. There's actually a guy called JCM, Led Zeppelin, and he makes fantastic videos, a lot of them about Yes, which I love as well. And he has he's obsessed with Led Zeppelin, and I think he's after collecting 62 copies of In Through the Outdoor. 62 different copies from all different countries, all different pressings, all different variants. 62 copies. That's, yeah, it is insane. But I sent him a message on YouTube telling him that he needs 100. Okay. Anyway, let's get down to the nitty gritty and let me talk through the tracks on this. You know, it's kind of a sad album one way because, you know, John Bonham, it was his final album. There was only 8 Led Zeppelin studio albums, and this was the last one. And, you know, the drums are still great. I don't care. I'd listen to this album. I'd just listen to the drum tracks on their own. You know, I would. You know, Bonham was the best rock drummer. And yeah, so let's go. So the album kind of, you know, it fades in to kind of a phased, kind of menacing sound. And then Robert Plant shouts through some type of a phaser that's wobbly. And he goes, in the evening. And then boom, big riff. Good riff, you know, in the evening, but it's kind of repetitive, you know, it kind of keeps chugging over. But it's a very heavy riff. Like it's, yeah, it's, you know, it's nothing out of place in the Zeppelin catalog. It's, but the lyrics, you know, I need your love and all that kind of stuff. It reminds me of stuff that he did on Pictures at 11, his first solo album in 1982. There's, you know, keyboards as well on this, you know. John Paul Jones was messing around with a Yamaha GX1. It's a gigantic, you know, it's probably the Bugatti Veyron of synthesizers back then. 3 keyboards on it, like it's gigantic. You kind of sit into it. So, yeah, you know, ABBA used that keyboard as well, actually. But I know John Paul Jones did actually buy one. He used it on stage, I think, in 1980. Yeah, but in the evening, guitar solo, there's kind of how will I put it? He's using a Strat Jimmy Page because you can hear the tremolo diving and then boom for the solo. It's like a door being kicked down. Quite powerful. But it seems to happen twice in the song. I'm just wondering, it sounds almost identical. I wonder, was it an edit and just rechopped for effect because it sounds quite big. You know, the drums are damning on this, like they're huge, you know. Yeah. But it kind of goes on and on a bit, you know. Yeah, Plant with the, you know, wailing ooh and stuff like that. It's kind of grates on the ears a little. Next track is Southbound Sorres or whatever he is. It is whatever. Yeah, the piano is very jerky, you know. It's just like really, it's kind of a nod back to early rock and roll. It's not bad, like, you know, it's not crap, like, you know what I mean. I could imagine something like that being on House of the Holy as well, you know. But then the album gets really good for me. Fool in the Rain, track 3. The beat there is fantastic, and I think Jeff Porcaro from Toto, amazing drummer as well. He actually, I think they did a half shuffle and he used it in Rosanna or something like that, so the story goes. Then it goes into kind of rumba or samba or something like that, kind of Latin music. And it's quite jovial and it's uplifting and it's interesting, you know, and there's a lot of percussion there, so it sounds good. Not very Zeppelin, but it's still entertaining. You know, if John Bonham was just playing a doorbell, I'd still listen to it. Hot Dog, no, this is a little rock and roll number, kind of country rocker. A lot of people hate this because it says really corny, but I like this. I think it's just a bit of fun. Reminds me of something out of Smokey and the Bandit. You know, not bad. It's just a good bit of fun. Cool guitar solo. You know, probably sounds a little bit like the Yorkie advert back in the 70s, the guy driving the truck. Yeah. But anyway, yeah, it's side 1, comes to an end with Hot Dog, and that's it really. A little bit hodgepodge, you know, not as engaging as other Zeppelin albums, but, you know, it's not bad. Right, now side 2 kicks off with the long, 10-minute long, I think, Carousel Alhambra. This one, a lot of people, again, they go, oh, that's great and stuff. Number 1, the keyboards on it really get to me. The opening keyboard is kind of a bassy thing. It's kind of farty. I don't really like it. Then the drums, of course, gallop off. And, you know, like, it reminds me a little bit of, 11th Earl of Mar by Genesis from their 1976 album, Wind and Wuthering. You know, ironically as well, Genesis in 1979 recorded their 1980 album, Duke in Polar Studios. Phil Collins went on to produce Frida's solo album as well. In 1982. Yeah, Alhambra. It goes through different changes. It kind of is a prog or whatever. There's kind of guitar in it, and arpeggios with chorus and stuff, and it sounds a little bit like 80s Genesis. Yeah, I was never too convinced by it. It's long-winded, and yeah, then there's a menacing piece in the middle. Some people say that Jimmy Page turned down Plant's vocal because the lyrics are personal. I don't know if that's true or not, but anyway, yeah, that's the way it goes. All My Love, this one again, it's a bit syrupy. He's just repeating All My Love in the chorus. It's not. Then there's this kind of keyboard solo. It sounds really kind of analog and fat. It's kind of like, I don't know, it's not really my cuppa. It would be one of my least favorite Led Zeppelin songs. And then at the very end, it's I'm Gonna Crawl. That's a very slow, moody song. And it kind of, just, I like it actually. I really like that one. There's some good drums on it, and there's some good guitar on it. Yeah, that's not bad. I think the album ends on a kind of a good note, but it's kind of a sad note. That's what was going to happen a year later. But yeah, so they're the tracks, and that's my verdict on them, really. So yeah, I actually enjoyed it. I enjoy it more now than I did yesterday. I think JCM is trying to persuade me. I enjoyed it, and I like this Jimmy Page edition. It's I can hear a lot more on the guitars and stuff like that. The vocals are a little bit clearer. Side 2 was clearer. My Alsdorf pressing was a bit dull on side 2, so I didn't get to enjoy Chorus Alhambra as much as I could. Another thing I noticed as well, at the end of In the Evening, Jimmy Page's guitar sounds very like You Shook Me. Yeah, it sounds a little bit like that. So it's got that kind of almost dull sounding tone, very bluesy. Yeah, so there's a lot of guitar surprises if you really put your ear to the ear to it. Like, yeah. Another thing, Fool in the Rain. Everybody knows Jimmy used an MXR blue box for that solo. That's the word on the street. So yeah, the blue box is an MXR device, kind of an octave fuzz, kind of ugly kind of pedal. Yeah, they're good fun, but they're not something you stick on a pedal board. So there you have it. That is In Through the Outdoor, very last Led Zeppelin album in John Bonham's lifetime. Yeah. And this is the Jimmy Page remaster. Again, I like the sound of it. It sounds great. It kind of makes the album a better listen as well, I must admit. So yeah, that's it really. There's not much more to say about this. I'm not, an expert on all things Led Zeppelin. I just love their music, and I think that they're one of the most unique and one of the greatest rock and roll bands of all time, and I'd never get sick of them. So yeah, that's it. Thanks for watching. Feel free to subscribe and take care.